It looked like just another sci-fi adventure. Massive underwater sets, a daring rescue, and a mysterious alien. But the abyss was far more dangerous and chaotic than it seemed. Directors demanded extreme realism, actors risked hypothermia, and technical failures threatened every take. What should have been a smooth production became a battle of endurance, innovation, and near disasters that almost sank the film entirely. Prepare to uncover 20 shocking secrets about the abyss. Shocking Secret 1. The underwater set almost drowned the crew. The abyss's massive underwater set was as dangerous as it was impressive. Constructed in a giant tank, actors and crew had to spend hours submerged, rehearsing and filming in near-freezing water. Despite safety measures, accidents were frequent. Equipment failures, oxygen line problems, and miscommunications caused several near drownings. James Cameron demanded realism, pushing everyone to stay underwater longer than usual for authentic reactions. Crew members recall moments of sheer panic when lights flickered or tanks malfunctioned. Safety divers were always nearby, but the constant risk created an environment of high stress and tension. Several cast members reported lingering claustrophobia even after filming ended. Cameron himself admitted the set was hell on earth, yet he believed the danger translated into cinematic realism, giving the film its legendary intensity and authenticity. The underwater set was a marvel, but nearly claimed lives in the pursuit of cinematic perfection. Shocking Secret 2. James Cameron insisted on real submersion. James Cameron refused to rely solely on blue screens or models. He insisted the actors perform fully submerged to capture genuine underwater reactions. This meant hours of breath-holding, dealing with bulky wetsuits, and performing emotionally intense scenes under extreme conditions. For Cameron, every bubble, glance, and struggle had to be authentic. Some sequences took days to shoot, with actors suffering from hypothermia, fatigue, and stress. Even veteran divers on set admitted the shoots pushed human endurance to its limits. Cameron's perfectionism extended to lighting and camera angles, forcing actors to hold positions for long stretches while technicians maneuvered heavy cameras underwater. Though grueling, this approach gave the abyss a visceral realism unmatched by most films of its era, solidifying Cameron's reputation as a director who would risk almost anything for the perfect shot. Cameron's insistence on real underwater performance pushed actors to their limits, creating unforgettable realism. Shocking Secret 3. The water tank cost more than the entire film. The construction of the underwater tank became one of the most expensive sets in film history. Its sheer size and complexity required advanced engineering, water filtration systems, and temperature controls to allow for extended shooting periods. The tank alone exceeded the initial budget of the entire movie, forcing Cameron to negotiate aggressively with the studio to secure additional funds. Maintenance was a nightmare. Leaks, electrical issues, and pressure imbalances were constant threats. Actors had to rehearse meticulously to minimize accidents, while technicians worked around the clock to keep the environment safe and functional. Despite the astronomical costs, the tank became essential for the film's realism, allowing Cameron to film scenes impossible on location or with CGI. It was a massive gamble, but one that paid off in cinematic history. The tank was a financial behemoth, but it delivered the film's unmatched underwater authenticity. Shocking Secret 4. Ed Harris nearly quit over extreme conditions. Ed Harris, known for his tough professionalism, almost walked off the set due to the grueling underwater conditions. Extended hours submerged in freezing water, combined with intense emotional scenes, pushed him to the edge. Safety protocols slowed filming, creating frustration, while Cameron demanded repeated takes to capture exact emotions. Harris reportedly clashed with the director over actor well-being, questioning the necessity of extreme realism. Yet, he ultimately stayed, citing the story's importance and Cameron's persuasive vision. The struggle between actor endurance and director perfectionism defined much of the production atmosphere. Harris's performance, raw and palpable, benefited from these trials, lending authenticity to the fear, tension, and urgency that pervade the film's most iconic underwater sequences. Ed Harris nearly quit, but his perseverance helped make the performances unforgettable. Shocking Secret 5. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio almost lost her voice. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio endured her own set of challenges underwater. Constant submersion and controlled breathing during emotional takes strained her vocal cords and respiratory system. Some scenes required screaming or shouting while underwater, which risked permanent damage. She also had to navigate communication with divers and crew while maintaining performance continuity. Mastrantonio credits physical therapy and careful pacing with preventing long-term injury. Her dedication ensured the character's emotional arc remained intact despite brutal filming conditions. The behind-the-scenes struggle went largely unnoticed, but it contributed significantly to the film's tension and believability. Mastrantonio's dedication kept her voice and the emotional intensity alive under extreme conditions. Shocking Secret 6. The alien effects were created using real water physics. The Abyss's alien sequences weren't just CGI. Cameron and his team relied on real water physics. The liquid alien, a sentient water entity, was simulated using a massive water tank, practical effects, and clever camera tricks. Fluid dynamics had to be manipulated to create believable movements, with miniature models and lighting giving the alien a lifelike presence. Special effects technicians often submerged themselves for hours to adjust currents, reflections, and surface tension, capturing subtle ripples and glows. These painstaking efforts ensured the alien appeared organic, not synthetic. The realism wowed audiences, but behind the scenes, achieving it required trial and error, sleepless nights, and sometimes dangerous underwater maneuvers. The result is a sequence that feels alive, an uncanny, awe-inspiring presence that still stands as a high watermark of pre-digital effects ingenuity. Practical water physics made the alien terrifyingly real, blending science and spectacle flawlessly. Shocking Secret 7. A scuba accident nearly turned fatal. During a complex underwater scene, a scuba mishap nearly ended tragically. One crew member became entangled in lines controlling camera rigs and oxygen hoses. Panic set in as he struggled to free himself while submerged in freezing water. Safety divers responded instantly, preventing disaster, but the incident shook the entire cast and crew. Cameron reportedly reviewed every safety protocol afterward, implementing stricter measures for all subsequent shoots. The accident highlighted the real danger of filming underwater, where even small mistakes could become life-threatening. Cast members later described a lingering tension on set, knowing that physical and technical demands could turn deadly at any moment. Despite the fear, the team pressed forward, turning the close call into a motivator to perfect sequences with precision. A near-fatal scuba accident reminded everyone that underwater filmmaking is not for the faint of heart. Shocking Secret 8. The crew spent days in freezing water. Filming The Abyss meant long hours in water barely above freezing. Even with wetsuits and thermal gear, prolonged submersion caused hypothermia, fatigue, and muscle cramps. Some actors reported numbness and loss of fine motor control during intense sequences. Production schedules had to accommodate frequent warming breaks, but Cameron insisted on extended underwater shots for realism. The physical toll was immense, yet actors delivered performances that conveyed fear, urgency, and authenticity. Crew members recall shivering uncontrollably while adjusting lights, cameras, and props, proving that dedication to realism often came at a high personal cost. These grueling conditions gave the underwater environment a palpable intensity, making every bubble, glance, and struggle feel genuine on screen. Freezing water created authenticity, but pushed cast and crew to their physical limits. Shocking Secret 9. Cameron pushed actors to their physical limits. James Cameron's obsession with realism pushed actors beyond normal endurance. Scenes required long breath holds, precision movements, and repeated takes in freezing water. Cameron demanded exact timing for emotional beats and underwater maneuvers, leaving little room for rest. Chafing and mental strain from constant underwater repetition. Safety divers and assistants constantly monitored actors, but Cameron's insistence on perfection created tension and frustration. He believed the grueling conditions produced authentic fear and subtle reactions impossible to simulate on land. The physical and psychological demands elevated performances, but left actors drained, bruised, and occasionally at odds with the director. Despite the hardships, the resulting footage is some of the most immersive underwater acting ever captured. Cameron's relentless demands pushed actors into extraordinary performances under extreme conditions. Shocking secret. 10. The script evolved. During shooting, not before. Unlike most films, The Abyss had a fluid script that changed on the fly. Cameron frequently rewrote scenes based on actor performance, technical limitations, or underwater physics. Dialogue, pacing, and action sequences were adjusted daily to reflect what could realistically be executed in the tank. Some iconic alien interactions and emotional beats were entirely improvised during shooting, informed by the crew's real-time observations and Cameron's vision. This approach created stress, but also allowed for a dynamic, unpredictable production. Actors had to adapt quickly, often memorizing new lines or adjusting movements in moments. The evolving script contributed to the film's organic tension and realism, as characters reacted authentically to the environment rather than following a rigid plan. The script's constant evolution turned unpredictability into cinematic tension and realism. Shocking secret. 11. Michael Biehn did his own stunts, almost died. Michael Biehn, known for his physicality, insisted on performing many underwater stunts himself. From swimming through tight spaces to interacting with heavy props, every movement carried real risk. During one particularly complex scene, Biehn became disoriented and nearly ran out of air. Safety divers rushed in to save him, but the close call left the entire crew shaken. Cameron encouraged actors to take ownership of the stunts, believing it would enhance realism on camera, but it came at a cost. Biehn's commitment paid off on screen. The heroics, panic, and desperation feel genuine, adding intensity to every sequence. Behind the scenes, however, this approach created constant tension, with near misses reminding everyone that underwater filming is inherently dangerous. Biehn's stunts delivered cinematic thrill, but nearly cost him his life. Shocking secret. 12. The film inspired real Navy protocol changes. The Abyss's depiction of deep-sea operations and extreme underwater environments caught the attention of the U.S. Navy. Military consultants noted that some sequences revealed practical risks of submersion, pressure chambers, and emergency protocols. While dramatized for cinema, Cameron's realism highlighted potential safety gaps in real-life operations. The Navy subsequently reviewed certain training and safety measures, particularly regarding long-duration dives and human factors under stress. Cameron collaborated with advisors to ensure believability, but unknowingly, he also nudged real-world policy improvements. Actors and crew were often unaware that their high-risk filming contributed indirectly to military practices. The film thus straddled fiction and reality, its detailed underwater challenges sparking discussions far beyond Hollywood. Cameron's underwater realism had consequences beyond the screen, influencing Navy safety protocols. Shocking secret. 13. The alien design was a last-minute decision. The design of the water-based alien was nearly an afterthought. Early concepts focused on glowing orbs and shadowy figures, but Cameron wanted something visually striking and emotionally expressive. The final design, fluid, intelligent, and liquid, was developed during production using practical effects, miniatures, and high-speed cameras. Artists experimented with light refraction, movement, and transparency to create a sense of life inside inside water. Tight deadlines forced rapid prototyping and improvisation. Some sequences were shot without a fully completed design, requiring post-production fixes. Actors reacted to markers and placeholders, trusting Cameron's vision. The gamble paid off. The alien remains one of the most memorable pre-digital creatures, combining wonder, horror, and awe seamlessly. The alien's iconic design was a last-minute gamble that became cinematic legend. Shocking Secret 14. The film nearly lost its rating over nudity. The Abyss faced censorship challenges due to nudity in some sequences. Cameron included these moments for realism and character vulnerability, particularly in underwater shots, revealing the human form against the alien environment. MPAA reviewers were concerned, threatening a stricter rating that could hurt box office potential. Cameron and the studio debated edits, but compromises preserved the scene's integrity while appeasing censors. The controversy generated quiet tension during post-production, with marketing teams preparing for potential backlash. Despite the concerns, the scenes added emotional depth and believability, emphasizing human fragility compared to the overwhelming alien forces. The careful balance between art and regulation became part of the film's behind-the-scenes drama. Nudity nearly triggered a harsher rating, but Cameron preserved the human vulnerability essential to the story. Shocking Secret 15. Filming underwater led to major equipment failures. Cameras, lighting rigs, and audio equipment constantly failed in the extreme underwater conditions. Electronics shorted, lenses fogged, and heavy rigs became unwieldy, requiring continuous maintenance and backups. Crew members spent hours repairing or improvising solutions mid-shoot, often in freezing water. Every technical failure slowed production, pushing schedules and budgets to their limits. Cameron demanded that filming continue despite these setbacks. Sometimes shooting scenes with partially malfunctioning equipment. Actors and crew had to adapt quickly, repeating takes and improvising movements to accommodate technical limitations. The challenges reinforce the perilous nature of underwater filmmaking, but ultimately, overcoming these failures resulted in cinematic sequences that felt immersive, tense, and utterly believable. Equipment failures tested patience, but the struggle produced unmatched underwater realism. Shocking Secret 16. Cameron used psychological pressure to elicit performances. James Cameron was notorious for pushing actors mentally as well as physically. He placed them in situations that mirrored the character's extreme stress: hours underwater, isolation, and claustrophobic sets. Cameron believed that genuine fear and tension would translate directly to the screen. Actors recall moments where they had to improvise emotionally, sometimes teetering on the edge of panic, while cameras rolled. This psychological pressure generated raw, authentic reactions, but came at a cost: fatigue, frustration, and occasional disputes with the director. Cameron justified the intensity as necessary for the realism he demanded. The result? Performances that captured the terror, awe, and wonder of confronting the unknown deep beneath the ocean, leaving audiences immersed in every underwater sequence. Cameron's psychological tactics created authentic fear, shaping unforgettable performances. Shocking Secret 17. The original ending was much darker. The Abyss's original script concluded with a darker, more ambiguous ending. Early drafts had the human crew facing devastating losses, and the alien contact remained mysterious, leaving audiences unsettled. Test screenings and studio pressure pushed Cameron to revise for a more hopeful resolution, emphasizing human resilience and the alien's benevolence. Some deleted scenes hinted at the alternate ending, showing the depth of the crew's sacrifices and the high stakes of underwater exploration. While the new ending was cinematic and widely praised, the darker conclusion would have transformed the film into a true psychological thriller, highlighting humanity's fragility against incomprehensible forces. Cameron's willingness to adjust kept the film accessible without sacrificing tension, but the original intent remains a fascinating what-if in behind-the-scenes lore. The Abyss nearly ended on a chilling, ambiguous note before Cameron softened it for audiences. Shocking Secret 18. The sound design was nearly impossible. Creating realistic underwater sound proved one of the most difficult technical challenges. Water muffles and distorts audio, making dialogue and effects nearly impossible to capture naturally. The sound team had to simulate bubbles, pressure changes, and muffled voices while preserving intelligibility for viewers. Foley artists recreated every underwater movement, from scuba gear clinks to tool splashes, layering hundreds of effects. Cameron collaborated closely, ensuring sound-enhanced tension without overwhelming overwhelming visuals. The result is an immersive, eerie soundscape that makes viewers feel submerged alongside the crew. Achieving this required weeks of trial, error, and meticulous mixing, pushing the limits of 1980s audio technology and redefining what underwater sound could convey in cinema. The Abyss's soundscape transformed underwater chaos into a haunting, immersive experience. Shocking secret. 19. Cameron rewrote scenes based on real physics challenges. Practical challenges underwater forced Cameron to rewrite scenes on the spot. Actors couldn't always perform movements due to pressure, buoyancy, or safety constraints. Cameron adapted dialogue, pacing, and staging to maintain believability while accommodating real physics. Some alien interactions were altered entirely to match water flow, currents, or actor limitations. These rewrites demanded flexibility from the cast and crew, who had to improvise and memorize new material quickly. Cameron's understanding of fluid dynamics and his willingness to adjust in real time ensured the film remained coherent, suspenseful, and visually stunning, despite the unpredictable environment. Many of these on-the-fly changes became the most memorable sequences, blending human drama with alien awe seamlessly. Real-world physics forced Cameron to rewrite, creating some of the film's most iconic moments. Shocking secret. 20. The Abyss left a legacy of practical effects. Innovation. The Abyss's ambitious underwater production revolutionized practical effects. Miniature models, water physics, and innovative lighting techniques influenced future films and inspired countless special effects artists. Cameron's insistence on realism pushed boundaries, showing that complex visual effects could be achieved without relying solely on CGI. Techniques developed for the liquid alien, underwater rigging, and immersive set design became reference points in Hollywood. Beyond technical innovation, the film proved that extreme dedication, meticulous planning, and creative problem-solving could create groundbreaking cinematic moments. The Abyss remains a touchstone for filmmakers seeking to blend physical effects, storytelling, and human performance under impossible conditions. The Abyss redefined practical effects and set a new benchmark for underwater filmmaking. The Abyss wasn't just a sci-fi thriller, it was a battle, a clash of endurance, imagination, and obsession that left its mark on everyone involved. Beneath the Water and Alien Wonders was a story about human limits, fear, and what happens when courage meets the unknown. Maybe that's why it endures, because it reminds us that diving into the depths can reveal both wonder and peril. If this uncovered a truth about the Abyss you never knew, drop your favorite secret in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more revelations from the films that risked everything to awe us. Remember, what lies beneath is always watching.